Anti-blackness will never help black women. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate your time. I am going to be giving my thoughts and opinion on this divestment movement. This is not a subject that I have talked about on my channel a lot because it's not really an internet space that I personally partake in a lot. So last night I was on Chrissy's live. I was actually in the live chat, and she was talking about how she is getting shaded a lot by these divestment channels that basically say that she's wasting black women's time because she is still telling them how to be acceptable and beautiful, how to get a good black man, and that she is stuck in Blackistan. Just all the little comments that a lot of times you see these channels making. So there was a point in her live where I guess someone got a notification that is a part of the divestment movement, and they all kind of swarmed in on her live chat, and they started, going in. You saw different, comments from women with, names like Divestment Beauty, Divestment Goddess, and all this other, those types of names. And unfortunately, what I experienced firsthand is that there was so much anti-blackness. And for me, I'm just sitting here like, how are black women participating in this? How does this make us any different from black men? If your movement perpetuates the same anti-blackness that we are supposed to be against, when black men say anti-black things and promote anti-blackness, your movement is not any better. And it doesn't help black women. Anti-blackness will never help black women. So I don't understand how this basically became what it is. Like, there were women in the comment section posting gorilla emojis and calling black men bullet bags, and just, it was just very bizarre and strange to me, because I'm just like, wait, if your whole movement is about abandoning black men because they perpetuate anti-blackness and colorism and abuse and poverty and all these other things, that you blame black men for, why in the world would you then join a movement who is basically reversing all of that and is still promoting anti-blackness? I don't understand why you would think that anti-blackness is going to save you or cause you to have better results. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video, is this notion that there's this demonization of blackness in general, because I don't know if you women realize that, is if you are regurgitating the same racist talking points about black men that white men say, I don't understand why you think that's going to bring y'all closer together. Like, I don't understand this. Anti-blackness is anti-blackness. And it's problematic across the board, period. It's not negative or detrimental to our community only when black men do it. It's a problem regardless of who perpetuates it. Colorism is a problem regardless of who perpetuates it. And let me be very real with you. If you're looking to attract a man that would be considered high value, or that would make a good partner in a long-term way of speaking, you don't want to be with a white man, especially a white man that's attracted to your self-deprecation. Because no respectable white man is going to be with a woman who self-deprecates. For example, do you think Lauren Hamilton's husband was attracted to her because she was a self-deprecating black woman? No. And I brought her up because I know a lot of y'all look up to her, her little situation. And kudos to you, girl. I'm very happy for Lauren. But I don't understand how y'all have these ideas as a core part of this movement. And listen, I understand that there is definitely space to criticize black men. There's definitely conversations that should be ongoing, which point the mirror at black men and demand that they take accountability for the things that they have directly done to affect the black community in negative ways. I'm here for that all day. Those conversations need to happen, and that is why I find myself oftentimes in opposition to those, pro-black women, pro-black man black women who act as if black men are just a victim of racism and they're just a victim and they can't do anything. They don't really have any power to change anything. So we just have to coddle them and make them feel better. When they come home, we just have to love on them and hopefully our vaginas can save them from racism. All that is nonsense too. But at the same time, this idea that you spend all day in these online communities bashing black men, calling black men racist names, and equating them to racist things, that somehow makes you better and less detrimental to the black community? Are you crazy? I don't understand that. I don't understand that cognitive dissonance. That's really wild to think that you want to leave Blackistan to get away from these toxic black men, and then you're creating and perpetuating racism. And what I think is very interesting is what I think a lot of women are not really ready for this, and I might get backlash for this if a lot of people end up seeing this video. I honestly feel like in the same ways that you see these black men online talking about, oh, we're gonna leave black women, we're gonna leave y'all, and then you end up seeing Tyrone with an overweight Becky. I think there's a lot of that happening as well on the other side. I don't really think that either way there's this idea that once you leave the black community, your attractiveness goes up points. Like if you're a 5 in the black community, once you leave the black community, you get to be an 8. No, baby, that's not the case. That's not the case for men, and it's not the case for women. It's not. And I really think that that's not discussed more, this idea that, and mind you, I understand that black men in particular perpetuate colorism such that certain features will never be embraced. I understand that. And like I said, there's conversations happening about that. Black men have been held accountable for this multiple times. But at the same time, like I said, if you're a 5 in the black community, you're not going to go around white men and all of a sudden become an 8. It's just not the truth, sweetheart. It's just not. And if you really believe that to the point where you find yourself saying anti-black things, praising white men on the internet, that looks crazy. That looks crazy. It's not attractive. In the same way that black men look crazy when they run around on the internet talking about how the snow bunnies is this and the Stargates, that looks crazy. It looks crazy whenever you are pedestalizing another race. That is never attractive. That is never okay, and it's always going to be anti-black. I can't really get down with this movement. I have had a few encounters like on Clubhouse and, coming across a couple videos of my recommendations based off of the, cross promotion of the audiences. And I'll see certain videos that YouTube recommends to me, and I'll start watching the video, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this crazy woman talking about? And then, I'll be on Clubhouse, and I'll be in a room that's, holding, a room that's, discussing relationships and why in the black community a lot of our relationships are not lasting. And it'll basically turn into a bash black men room, and all they'll do is be on stage calling black men broke and black men don't have this. And I understand, yes, collectively, black men, well, the black community in general, does not have a certain amount of wealth. I understand that. And for the black men that do, like my husband, that have wealth, it's not in high numbers, right? So I understand that conversation. But to just sit on a platform and say that if a black woman stays with a black man, she'll be in poverty, and if she has a child, just being in proximity to a black man will just bring you, that type of stuff to me is anti-black. It's that same, birth of a nation-esque rhetoric about the black man being this, mandingo, stupid, sexually charged. You have to understand you sound like a slave master. You have to know this. You have to understand that you sound like a slave master living in Jim Crow when you talk about black men like that. Like, especially if it's just coming from a place of bitterness. Because in the same manner that we can recognize when black men are talking about black women and they start bashing them and we immediately say, oh, who hurt you? I said the same thing to you black women in the divestment movement. Who hurt you? Was it your father? Was it a bunch of black men that, rejected you, made you feel like you were corny, made you feel like you weren't cute? Heal from that. Don't spew your toxicity on the internet. And just like when black men don't address those traumas and they create these spaces where they find other black men who feel rejected, I just don't understand why when black men do it, it's so obvious, it's so clear what it is. But black women in these divestment spaces are literally sounding exactly like black men, and it's okay? No, it's not okay. It's weird. It's weird as fuck. I'm never going to be a part of these online movements that basically replace one negative fallacy for another. So if you are a black woman who pretty much went through your whole life feeling unattractive, undesirable, either it was because of your phenotype, your skin tone, whatever, and you experienced it to the point where it was traumatic and it shaped how you saw yourself, I understand that and I can empathize with that. I can. But you have to have some semblance of, I guess, self-reflection to understand that going and being with a white man or a non-man of color is not going to make all of that go away. It's not. And just like how a lot of these red pill, manosphere content creators give unattractive men with poor social skills an excuse to stay the way they are by telling them that they need to save themselves for better women that are never coming because they'll never have access to those women to begin with, because it excuses the fact that all the women that they do have access to or that they have approached or pursued, it excuses that rejection away. And it's the same thing for this divestment movement for those black women who feel like they have not been picked. And before I go, I just wanted to say this. I am married to a successful black man that takes very good care of me. Okay? And for those reasons, you'll never catch me online bashing black men. Will you see me calling black men out on certain things? Absolutely. But you'll never, ever, ever see me associated with some foolishness concerning black men being, bullet bags and gorillas. You will never see me spewing that rhetoric because I understand it is racist and anti-black. And those are not my values. In the same manner, you will never see me online telling women, oh, the black man is your king. Just worship him, make him feel better, coddle him, stroke his ego, make him a man. You will never see me saying that because that's nonsense. Good men deserve to be coddled. Good men deserve to be, served and treated as a king. Not all. And so, again, I really think people have to stop being so extreme and they have to really think about these movements that they're joining. Instead of trying to find excuses to remain the same, I think people need to really start analyzing, like, why don't I have what I want? Basically, why don't I have what I want? What is it about me that's stopping me from getting what I want? Listen, I'm not here to advocate for black love because I don't do that anymore. I believe that black women should keep their options open to date whoever loves and appreciates them sincerely. That's what I personally believe. While black love ended up being my story, I know for every black woman it's not going to be. However, this idea that leaving the black community and rejecting your blackness is going to bring you a better life, you're going to stay exactly where you are. And you're never going to have what you want. And even if you do end up with a non-person of color, if they see that you are self-deprecating and self-hating, that's why they're going to be attracted to you. Most likely. Because they fetishize that. So that's all I'm saying is, If this is what you actively want, be very careful. Be very careful of the men that you attract while you're online doing this, while you're in real life saying these things, while those are your values that you hold. Be very careful, because I promise you, most of the men that you're going to attract, especially the white men, are there on some type of fetish, some type of kink stuff. Let me take a sip on that. But yes, that's all that I have to say on that. If you're feeling what I'm saying, please comment below. And if you're not feeling what I'm saying, comment below. Just please be respectful. That is all that I ask. Make sure you thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my commentary. But yes, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.